Hey, Redcasters, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Go Big Red.
I just did I went for a full hour with the team, right? We're not playing losing. I think I believe there's 3 stages. There's eliminating losing football, and then you play winning football, and then eventually you want to play championship football. I think we're playing winning football, and so we've got to get to championship football. The worst special teams performance I've had in a long time. The worst. I told the offense a lot of them have to pick their intensity up to his level, not the other way around. He's trying to throw the ball to guys that are supposed to be in certain places and they're not there. He's at a whole other level, and those other guys better pick it up. That's said respectfully and with love. But Dylan's doing a great job. I need everyone else to understand that, if a freshman knows all 120 plays in the game plan, then as a junior, I better know all 120 plays or 80 plays, whatever's in the game plan. I better know them. We've won the turnover battle 2 games in a row. It's the number one thing that I care about. I felt like we were the more physical team on Saturday. We did not have the execution at the level I wanted it to, so got to keep improving that. It was a game that we played 1-0 that I expected the game to go that way. I expected us to score 40 points in that game and hold them to about 10. That was my prediction of going into it. I thought that's where the game was, and that's no disrespect to them. I think they're a really good team. I just felt like we matched up well against that team. So we have to improve because there's other teams we're playing, like this type of team that we're playing this week, this physical. How are we going to match up against those teams? We play 2 spread teams. Now it changes. And how do we match up against teams that want to run the ball like we want to run the ball? I hate it. If it was up to me, we'd play at 9 o'clock in the morning. Kegs and eggs and football. Let's go.
Welcome to the Go Big Redcast, the Husker Fan Sports Show.
Welcome to the Go Big Redcast. I'm your host, Honke, and we are in the top rooftop at the Bierhaus, 8th and P in the Haymarket. I'm with Redcast Rob.
Everyone, I just want you to know that regardless of the outcome of the Bama-Wisconsin game, thoughts and prayers out to their quarterback, lost on the first drive. Everyone knew that, it's not much of a hot take, but, man, you can't lose your quarterback the first drive of a game against Bama and expect to win. It's just hard.
It's an uphill battle for him no matter what, but that didn't help, that's for sure.
Dude, I had him by 6 touchdowns.
Also with Redcast Talon.
How we doing today, guys? A hot take on the day. I think I would have to go with, I think there's one clear team in NCAA football right now that I think is the best clear-cut team, and that's Georgia. I think it's Georgia versus the field. I know a lot of people think it's kind of an open playoff, but I think what I've seen so far and how I know Kirby's going to coach those guys, I think Georgia is the clear-cut favorite this season.
So you think that Georgia's going to lose to Nebraska in the national championship game? That's a hell of a prediction there.
That's the hope and the wish. We'll see. Georgia's got some dogs over there, so you obviously hope we can get there, but let's just take it one game at a time.
Yeah, one game at a time. Well, one game at a time takes us to Northern Iowa today, and the Huskers 2-0. The press conference there that we had with Coach Rule, that was from Monday, and it's not about the opponent. It's all about us. It's all about us getting better. And no matter what the outcome today is, no matter how much we hopefully win by, obviously, don't want to ever take anything for granted, but is that there are things that we need to continue to prove at. And I think that we're going to see the team making jumps today in certain areas. Penalties was one from a week ago that we've got to get better at. And as much as we want to blame the refs for a number of them, there's still things that we have to clean up. And so that's important no matter who you're playing against. Talon, we didn't really have a chance to talk to you since the Colorado victory. What were your thoughts walking away from that one?
So obviously a dominating first half. We were able to run the ball physically. We were able to kind of do whatever we wanted. The only thing that looking back on that second half, we did get some explosive plays that were called back, but they were only on the edge. From the first half to the second half, we were not able to run through the tackles like we wanted to. Colorado was able to make those adjustments, and it was a little bit of a struggle for us to get going, running up the middle like we've kind of wanted to and like Rule wants to. So that's kind of a bit of a concern because you would think Colorado's got that they don't have the best D line. It's a great job by Colorado to kind of make those adjustments at halftime, but you definitely want to see us be able to run up the middle like, you kind of expect us to. So great win. You obviously wish, I wasn't too upset that we didn't score a ton of, we didn't score anything in the second half. You wish you would have just came out to start that half, just, that first drive, just go down right down their throats and, go up 35-0 and just solidify the performance you had in the first half. And that was kind of the only thing I was disappointed about, is we kind of took our foot off the gas a little bit. And that's just something you're not going to be able to do with good teams.
Yep. We are at the Bierhaus, the Rooftop at the Bierhaus, 8th and P Street in the Haymarket. Turn the laptop there, and you can see, and there's people on the other side of the bar up here. It's already getting packed, and it is 1 o'clock. It's more than 5 hours before kickoff. This is a great location to come down and tailgate at Redcasters. It's owned by Kincaidor out of Broken Bow, and they have their tasting room down here or they have one of their tap rooms down here in the Haymarket. This is the Bierhaus, 8th and P. They also have Sideshow Spirits down the street on P Street, where they make some of their distillery and some of their harder alcohol. So it's a great business. They're in Grand Island as well, in Omaha. They're also going to be doing the Oktoberfest, or part of Oktoberfest, which is next Saturday, Stinson Park, Omaha, Nebraska, September 21st at 12 p.m. The Huskers are not playing that day because they'll be playing on Friday night against Illinois. So you can go down there. You're not going to miss any Husker football. And you can listen to some bands like the Barry Boyce Band, Angie Kritz and the Polka Tunes, and the Rascal Martinez Band. So, it should be a good time. And this has been a good time so far, Rob. Everyone here, Talon, you as well. Raise a glass here.
Beer.
There we go.
First of all, man, it's always good to be back in Lincoln. Like, I'm just telling you, it's we went to the volleyball game last night.
We did.
Yeah, they beat number 14 Arizona State.
7-0 Arizona State.
I will say I watch every Husker volleyball game on television, and being there is a completely different animal, man. It was like just seeing. It's one thing, like, what kind of athletes these girls are, but to see the kind of athletes that they are. And even shout out Arizona State, Cromartie, number 4 on that team.
Yeah.
She is not that tall, and she was probably a good foot over the net. Just an amazing athlete. She looked like she could jump out of the gym. Fun fact, she's Antonio Cromartie's niece, the former NFL football player, 4-time Pro Bowler. So that was actually really neat, because you never know who you're going to see playing these sports. And then I realized how old we're getting, because we're like, look at, now we're all getting old enough to see these nieces of these guys we used to watch. I was like, well, Dylan Raiola is our quarterback, and there are a few other players out there that are now coming of that age. We just played a team where two of the coach's sons are playing for the team, and we watched him play in his NFL heyday as well. So
I'm still young. I don't know what they're talking about.
That's Talon. Yeah, it's all right, Talon. Well, that's why we have you here. So the use, it's great, and Talon's doing some great work for us too. He's been posting on our Instagram and our TikTok for us, and promoting a lot of the videos. I'll be out on the field tonight again, hopefully getting some good videos to send him that he'll be able to cut up and put out there and share with the world, especially the fourth quarter light show. I'm sure millions of you have seen it, but, I'm still going to post it because I'm old, and that's what I do.
It's still cool to see every time. You really can't be mad at
So
it. I watch
what are your plans today then, Rob? Are you going to be on the field? Are you going to go up in the press box for some of the game? What are the rules? Like, what can you do?
I have the photo media pass, so I spend the time down on the field. I'm not quite sure. I'm still trying to figure out a game plan, because last time when I was there, it was like 140 degrees on the field at game time, and it was and that's not. I think somebody took a thermometer measurement of it or something, and that's what they came up with. So I may be down on the field. I'm going to try to get some just some good shots tonight. Now that we have a social media manager over here. I'm looking forward to being able to send him some good stuff. And, You know,
like
kids
Coach,
these days,
like
they're
Coach,
so good at that tic-tacky thing.
well, like Coach John Kirk was on TikTok this week.
Yeah.
We have a TikTok, right, Talon? I think
Yes.
you have to
we do.
explain it to me
We
because I
have
don't
a TikTok
understand it.
and an Instagram. If you're not already following it, you should find us and follow it because of all of the social media platforms that we have, those are the two of the least followers. We had like under 1,000 followers on Instagram, but we've got like 15,000 Facebook followers. So I think it speaks to our demographic more than anything. So we're bringing on Talon here. He's kind of I used to call myself the cousin Oliver of the Redcast. Talon's going to be the cousin Oliver of the Redcast now. We're going to try
Nephew Oliver.
Nephew Oliver. Yeah. Well, he was Nephew Oliver. That's a good one. I like that. So he's going to try to bring in some of that younger demographic for us. You know, we're going to just give him enough Redcast clothing. He wears it 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and just he walks around and does all that. So.
You know what's funny is actually I wear my Redcast shirt I think maybe 3 times a week. I mean, I think I have it. It's just if I'm going out somewhere, I'm just gonna put it on. So
you don't do laundry a lot, is what I'm hearing.
You know, if I only wear it for an hour, it's still clean.
Hey,
right?
you know what? Just text Uncle Rob if you need a few extra dollars here and there. All right, I'll send you some laundry money on the Redcast. All
There
right,
we go.
you just let me
that's
know.
what I like.
And you've got your girlfriend here too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
she
you
might as well. She's sitting here. We're gonna let her at least say hi. You know, I mean, it's you know, and she's been great. The last couple times we've been out in Lincoln, she's here.
Hi.
State your name.
Kenzie Brandenburg.
And she came all the
has
way
been-
up from Columbus, right? She lives out in Columbus, so she's out here from Columbus. So you know,
C-Town representing on the
That's
Redcast
right,
as
dude.
always. So
yes, so
that's awesome.
She's
yeah.
very patient, very understanding. I think we were here for the last time we did a show, I think we were here for a good 5 hours and she stayed the entire time. So she's a very patient and understanding girl, and I'm very happy to have her here.
Well, we're also happy to have Big Red Junkies following along there. What's up, boys? Also, the Husker Armory podcast there. Let's go in after it tonight. No drop off. 60 minutes of Smash Mouth football. 1-0 GBR. I love the concept of that Big Red Army because the idea of let's go 1-0. Right. Let's get better. The opponent this week and every week really is us, and it's about us getting better. With that said, this is the first week now in years. It's 5 years since we've been ranked. But there's actually going to start to be some expectations, and some of these are going to come from national sources. This was Kirk Herbstreit this morning. I'm going to play this little clip from game day, but this is what we're starting to run into.
Thing about Colorado and Nebraska, I want to flip it to Nebraska because a lot of people now are excited about Raiola and what this team can do. Just for people, the reason I think a lot of people like Nebraska early in the year is he's around a veteran team. Raiola is a young guy, he's a true freshman. But 17 of these guys played last year. They looked physical last week. Matt Rule, just for a history lesson, when he went to Temple in year 1, they were 2-10. By year 3, they were 10-4. He went to Baylor, 1-11 year 1. Year 3, 11-3. The guy knows how to take a program that's struggling, build it up, get itself to believe, change the culture. And it wasn't just they beat Colorado. They smashed them with the line of scrimmage, linebackers downhill, the running back taking on Shiloh Sanders, running right through him. To me, it's a personality. I said last week they're 7-0 when they go to Columbus. I feel that even more emphatically about what's going on. That is a stock to buy right now, Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, you take what Herbstreit just said there, and I want to hit on a couple of the main points, and then I'll get your thoughts, Rob, and then Talon. Raiola, he's a young guy, but this isn't a young team. 17 of those guys he mentioned that were starting and playing out there were guys on that team last year. So you're building something from year 1 to year 2. That's a Rule trait that the years 2 and 3, the improvement that you see in the past, what he did at Temple, what he did at Baylor. That's what we expect to see this year, and I think we're starting to see it through 2 games. And then last but not least, the point that Herbstreit made is that we smashed them. We smashed CU. We didn't beat them. This wasn't. The score was not indicative of how that game was played.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we were basically kneeling on the ball at the very end. For anyone that's concerned we didn't score in the second half, we could have at the very end if we needed to. But that was a game that was out of hand at halftime, 28-0 with a dominating presence. So, I mean, Rob, you know, how do you build off of that? How do you take what you've done in games 1 and 2, and what do you want to see in game 3 today building off of that.
Well, the key is build, right? You take a lot of the things that you're working on from the foundation and you continue to go up with that, right? And the foundation of this team has been the defense. And as you said, we had 17 returning starters, I think, from last year, 17 guys.
Yep.
And I said it before, we had like the third highest returning production in the entire country coming into the season. And so that's the sort of thing that you see. You see guys like Ty Robinson and Nash that probably could have, like, you know, tried to go into the NFL and play there, but they came back. You're seeing it in these, you know, chasing three.
Yeah. When Ty said
Ty puts his arm around Rule, I mean, I swear to God, Ty's eating dinner at his house every single night, hanging out, drinking half a bottle of whiskey, because those two are going to be friends for life, right? Like, that is exactly what they're building here. That is like a father-son relationship right there. That's not just like a player-coach. That is a father-son relationship they're building there, and you see it across the board with a lot of these players. You see a lot of these guys out there dedicating themselves to the program, and that's exactly the sort of motivation. That's the type of thing that we want to see. And God forbid I use the word culture that we are looking for here in Nebraska, right? Mm-hmm. That's the kind of culture they had under Osborne. That's the kind of culture they had under Solich. And that's the kind of culture we need back here in Nebraska, because that is Nebraska football.
It's a winning culture.
That's
a winning culture. Talon, did you get a chance to watch Chasing 3 this week?
I haven't yet. I want to.
Oh my gosh!
I've been so busy this week, but I need to. I've kind of started getting into
Date
it a lot. She watches so much football. It's crazy. On Saturdays, that's all she does. So I don't know if I can.
It's weird because I'm looking at her left hand right now and it's blank. Just saying.
Oh my goodness! You know, Talon. I'll give you, a little bit of insight on the Chasing 3. You get to see so much of the background of the program. And what Rob's talking about there, it's the guys walking off the field afterwards last week and Ty Robinson arm around Coach Rule and telling him this is why I came back. It's Jamari Butler, who I don't know that I fully comprehended what a leader he is on the team. Like the vocal role he's taking, but it was very clear. Watch that, Talon, when you see that. Pay attention to that. And he gets the game ball and he gives it to Coach Rule.
Yep.
And I guess from a culture standpoint, Rob talked about maybe what he wants to see on the field. Maybe culture-wise, let's talk about week 1, week 2, and what's week 3 growth to you? What do you want to see? How this team prepares, how they play, how they come out? Like, what do you want to see tonight against what should be a very inferior opponent?
Well, it's kind of like what I want to see again, like what we wanted to see against UTEP. Just utter domination. Just come out. Go right at this team. You know they're not as good as you. Now, this team is a little bit different, this Northern Iowa team from UTEP. They're not going to spread the ball out. They kind of want to do what we want to do, right? They want to run the ball. They want to go at you. But we've built such, like you guys have talked about, that culture is there now. Rules put that in place over the last, 18 to 20 months, right? I mean, he has built we're going to work hard. We're going to put it all on the line every single time, and you watch it, like there's not one guy that hasn't bought into this roster, where we've seen in like years past with Frost, with Riley, with Pliny. Like there were some guys that were totally bought in, and there was other guys that weren't. And now there's not one guy on that roster that's not completely bought in to what Rule wants to do, and I think it just shows what kind of leader Matt Rule is. I mean, yeah, he failed in the NFL, but this guy is a leader of young men. He knows how to bring the best out of these young players, and he doesn't just want them to succeed on the field. He wants them to succeed off the field, and I think that's something that that's what the great coaches do. That's what Saban was always about. He wanted to have guys succeed off the field. That's what Osborne wanted to do for the longest time, right? Not just be successful on the field and win championships, be successful in life. And I think when you can do that and you can put it all together, you build that culture, and he has done such a phenomenal job of doing that. And I mean, I think, considering where we were, I don't think there was a ton of people who saw us being this way. I think there was always like potential to be it, but now that he's actually, proven that we can do it, especially over these last 2 weeks and kind of what he built last year, it's just been phenomenal. And I you can't talk about the improvements that he's made to this team.
Mm-hmm. Corn Nugs, Drew, GBR from Boulder. GBR, Corn Nugs. Everyone watching right now, tell us where you're watching from. GBR from wherever. Also, the first question that I'll ask to the group here, And I'm asking it also all the live viewers, so send your answers in on this. When do you think NU is going to score its first points today? So what time in the game? First quarter, second quarter, or what time in the first quarter? And how do you think we'll score those first ones? So, Rob, I'll start with you. So tell us where you're watching from, folks, and also tell us when you think we're going to score first points. Rob, how about you?
Well, it depends on if we get the ball first or not, but I think we'll score on our first drive.
Okay.
And I think it'll be a rushing touchdown. And I think it'll be Dowdell. And I think that he's going to end up being our – I don't want to call him our
bell cow yet?
Our bell cow yet, but I think that he's going to be kind of the go-to guy for now. Okay, Does that make sense? Like, he'll probably get a good 2/3 of the carries, you know, and that doesn't necessarily mean first, second down, third down. Like, I just think we're going to see a lot more out of him as it progresses. But that answers the question. I think it's going to be our first drive that we have the ball, and it's going to be a rushing touchdown by Dowdell.
Absolutely. And, you know, Talon, we mentioned earlier how we want to see improvement from game to game. How about Dowdell last week? 0 fumbles, and the same kind of run that he fumbled on the first game is like where he just ran over a guy but dropped it. That's the play that, you know, unfortunately for Shiloh, he got injured on it. But that's a physical run. That's how Dowdell's going to run.
It's what he gets for standing in the way.
How do you
and really, that's Shiloh's fault. I mean, he was kind of talking a little bit of trash before that game. Like Colorado was going to run through us, and Dowdell said, "Hey, I'm going to run right through you."
Run through you. The injuries, you know, are unfortunate. No one wants to see injuries, but this is a physical game, and we're gonna bring the pain. So, Talon, how about you? When do you think NU will score its first points, and how do you think it will happen?
So I think it'll be like what Rob said on our first possession. I would have to probably agree. It's probably going to be a running touchdown from Dowdell. Maybe even Ramir Johnson gets in on a third down. You know, he gets a 10-yard rush. But I think on that first drive, we are going to run it down their throats. I think we're going to show that we're going to be physical throughout this game. And, you know, I think we want to pass it, but I think we're going to show that we can out-physical a team who wants to be physical with us. And I think that's what Rule kind of wants to show that we can do today. So yeah, I would say first drive, you know, if we get it, I think it's going to be kind of like that first drive we had against UTEP. We take 6 minutes off the clock, run it down their throat, have a couple short passes, get our receivers in the game. But I think we're just going to absolutely drain the clock and just run it down their throats.
Yeah, that bring that physicality right away to it. Yep. Yeah, Eric here says there's no Panthers in Northern Iowa. The whole state lies. I mean, there's some truth to that there, you know.
So Panthers are technically cousins of mountain lions. So, okay. I mean, if they have mountain lions in Northern Iowa, I don't know. Technically speaking, I mean, we have mountain lions in Colorado, some pretty large ones. I've come across them while elk hunting in the past. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what Iowa's about. The only time I've ever been through Iowa, I drove through it.
Well, Eric says I want a special teams touchdown today. That's huge. I mean, Oregon got 2 of them last week against Boise. That's the difference between them winning or losing it. You're from Colorado. Greg, he's from Colorado, right?
Greg lives in Greeley, Colorado.
Oh, does he live in Greeley?
We do. We run into each other occasionally. Remember I told you that?
Sure. Yeah. He thinks Ja'Cory Barney is going to have a game, and I'm not going to disagree there. I mean, Barney is so electric with the ball in his hand, and he's
a true freshman too.
It's one of the things that I love about Rule. Rule doesn't fit one narrative. He is old school, but he's bought into new school tactics of NIL portal.
Show me, coach.
He wants you to be physical and pound it, yet he wants game-breaking guys like Ja'Cory Barney there. He wants game-breaking running backs. You know, it's not just pounding. You also need to be, he measures guys' speed in miles per hour. Like, it's important that you have explosiveness, too. We need some big plays. You know, at the end of the day, you got to score points. And that doesn't matter where that's coming from, defense, offense, special teams. I will say, Talon, defensively, we've had 2 straight games now. We've put points up on the board from the defense. That's had the safety. And then, of course, Hill's interception last week.
Yeah, that was a great job by Tommy Hill just to completely read Shador there, just jump a late hitch route and take it. I mean, this defense is good. This defense can lead, be a team that, helps us continuously win games and put points on the board. So it's interesting to see, it's something we haven't seen in a long time, especially before Rule. And it's something you guys were used to seeing, growing up through, watching the 90s teams. And even before that, this defense can cause turnovers and they can put the ball in the end zone just like the offense. But like you were saying with Rule, I mean, you kind of watched how he played last year. He's okay with, fit his system to fit around his guys. You see a lot of coaches, they want guys to fit their system, and he's okay looking at the roster he has and saying, hey, we have a Dylan Raiola where we can spread the ball out a little more and we can throw it a little more. I mean, that first game he had 27 passes in like 3 quarters. I mean, that's something that I don't think a lot of people were like expecting, especially, you look at how we played last year. I mean, we didn't have a quarterback who would throw it 27 times, but, he's okay with fitting his system and fitting his plays around the guys that we have. And that's just a lot of things, like, that's what great coaches do. So he's okay with kind of adapting and switching things around. He's not just a one system guy like you guys are talking about.
Yeah, well, I think Bryce's question here, I've left it up for a few minutes just because I want to talk about this. I think the use of how we play our tight ends, and then in some cases 2 tight ends, and there's even points where you can put 3 tight ends on the field in real heavy situations, but that brings a completely different style, right?
Yeah. And do we want to talk about what you and I were talking about last night over a glass of whiskey or 2? It was a very large glass of 477 distilling whiskey, I should say.
Well, and just, Bryce says, let's get Fedoni in the end zone. And we're all for that. Yeah. I mean, what were we talking about? It was all about the pre-snap motion.
We were talking about the pre-snap motion and how, you've got guys like Fedoni that are coming across the screen, whether it's from the left side, the right side. And the motion isn't just kind of get to the end of the line, stop and block. Like, these are routes that these guys are running at this point where they're basically moving the entire defense with them pre-snap. They've got guys, they're moving guys out of position pre-snap. They're showing, they're not really showing exactly what it is they're going to do. I mean, there was a couple times last night or last week, I think even Fedoni on the play where he got the pass interference called, right before I think Dowdell ran, I think it was like the first or second touchdown of the game, right? Yep. He started on the right side. He came out of it, moved across the field, and just continued that route, almost like a wheel route, right? Yeah. Outside to the sideline, and the pass interference was called. But those are the kind of things we haven't really seen that out of our tight ends in a whole lot, right?
That's a new addition, or at least you didn't see a lot of it last year. The amount of movement that they're doing in the backfield, all the pre-snap motions. Some teams call it eye candy, but this is more than eye candy. It's directly leading into how the play is being used. So the good example of that, Jalen Lloyd last week on the one where he's just an inch away from catching that deep ball, he never stops. He goes in motion, and his motion just leads him into that kind of wheel route, and he had the guy beat 2 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Well, even on the run plays too, though, it's almost like a fake eye, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
well, that's
you
the thing.
Called it last night,
the tight end motions himself into a position where he's almost like a moving fullback.
Yes.
And so there's examples where they've done this too, where it's not just on handoffs. They've done little side screens off to like Ramir, and Ramir catches it on the side, but he has a Fedoni in front of him, lead blocking from his motion. It's all one continuous motion, one continuous play. It's awesome to see. I mean, like, and the timing's been so good with it. And so, but defensively, you're also having to manage looking at guys going side to side, and then you've got some of these counter motions. They're pulling guards and tackles. It's a lot for a defense to take in. So I don't want that to be underplayed right now. No. And that's the thing, that no matter who the opponent is, we need to just keep getting better at that. That's a great start. Like what they're doing right now, that's going to work against a lot of teams. Get better at that. It's the old option thing. Just get timing down.
It's fun to watch and rewatching games with you, especially because last night we were watching the Big Ten 60 and 60 or whatever they call that, with the game in 60. And we were just watching plays probably 3-4 times at a clip, like, and slowing it down to the slow motion, watching these guys run. It's so much fun to watch, and there's so many like aspects to the offense that are going on, and watching Dylan change plays with the line, and watching him move guys around back there, and then knowing he's got to switch from a run to a pass. And it's just, these are things that Husker football, it's a new era of Husker football. There's a lot of running, there's a lot of smash mouth football, but we're seeing a pro style offense that actually works, right? This isn't like your Callahan Huskers. This is actually pro style. He almost, and I'm so sorry, Panther fans, but it's almost like he took his NFL experience, moved it over into college, and is now trying to make us like a top 10 program annually.
Yeah. Carolina Panthers fans, not Northern Iowa Panthers.
Yeah, not or Northern Iowa. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
it
I
doesn't
actually too for what we're about to do to them today. So
Well, it doesn't really look like any coach can succeed with the Carolina Panthers with that roster and with that owner. So it really doesn't matter who's coaching there. It's been awful.
No, very true.
he made a Super
now.
Bowl once.
Yeah, well,
Steve
since
Smith
then,
was like locked in on my fantasy football teams every single year.
Well, when you had Cam Newton, it changes things a little bit, you know, and he can kind of do, make up for some insecurities you have on your O line, and they didn't have many weapons back then.
Jake
either.
Delhomme.
But with what you guys are talking about with that eye candy, I mean, it helps Dylan Raiola out a ton to kind of figure out what the defense is playing, if they're going to play man or if they're going to play zone. Because if a guy's, running with that guy in motion, it just lets him know right there, hey, we're in man. So we can kind of do different things to beat that. Or if it's, hey, if they're not following, we can run zone. So we can run some zone beaters. So it's a nice thing that they're doing to kind of help Dylan kind of get into the flow of the offense. But how confident has Dylan looked in this system? I mean, Matt Rule was talking about it on the press conference. These guys, this guy studies his butt off. I mean, he knows every play inside and out. He knows what defenses look like, and it's just for a freshman to be able to do that at this kind of level. It's you don't really see it a ton. I mean, there's some guys who can do it, but at the level he's doing it, and to have your coach tell like, hey, these guys need to get up to a freshman's level. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. And it just lets you know how hard he is working and how bought in he is with this coaching staff. And it's just ridiculous to see from such a young kid so far.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, cheers to Dion here. He's got Twisted Tea and SoCal and Squirt. Vegas Jer, great pregame show. I'm not sure if Jer's up here, or I know we've been texting during the day. We saw Twitter Mike up here. We've seen a couple other Redcasters walking around before we got live. It's already kind of jamming up here, and we have 5 hours to kick off. So this is a great location. This is the Rooftop at the Bierhaus, at the Kincaid Bierhaus, 8th and P Street. We got here right as the farmers market was kind of closing down here on Saturday morning. So this whole area has been, stock full of people here the whole day. But this is a great spot. We were here for the post game after the UTEP one as well. So Redcasters, if you're here, check it out. Come up to the Rooftop here at Bierhaus, 8th and P. Also, if you're in Omaha, it's in the Exarban Village area, I believe, is the tap room there. They have a tap room right down here in the Haymarket. They also have one in Grand Island in the downtown area. And then their headquarters is in Broken Bow. And so I have a lot of relatives down there in the Valley County area and Custer County area. And when I'm out there, I always like to go and check out Kincaid Brewing. So you got to do it. In fact, I'm obligated. To have to. I hate to do it. I don't want to, but I have to have a beer right now. Sponsors rule. So
it would almost be unjust if you didn't have a beer right now, Honky. Come on.
Talon, how beautiful of a day is this right now?
Oh, it's awesome. You got to absolutely love it. And especially being on this rooftop, it's not too hot. You don't have any wind. It's like 70 degrees out. It's been absolutely beautiful. You couldn't ask for anything else. And especially on a Husker Saturday, that stadium's going to be packed. So it's going to be a great time. I can't wait to kind of see what that stadium's going to look like in all red again. I'm just saying, you guys are starting to get real popular. Everyone's coming up saying hi. What's going on? There's that comedian knew who you guys were. There was a guy on the assistant coach for the basketball staff came in and talked to you guys last week. So, hey, you guys might just be the most popular podcast in Nebraska, huh?
Well, I mean, they think I'm Coach Rule. That's the thing. They think they're talking. It's legitimately, we had people that were coming up to us that last game, and they thought that Coach Rule, it was a night game too, so I guess I'll even say, it was a little dark out. Maybe I look that much more like him. I don't know, but some people were like, is Coach Rule doing like a post-game show? I'm like, no, Coach Rule's not on the Go Big Redcast right now doing a post-game show. As much as I would love that,
although
he probably has bigger fish to fry than that.
Coach Rule is listening right now, we would love to have you on. I've been sending you emails trying to get you on the show. I don't know who gets those emails, but that is me.
Guessing not Coach Rule.
That is me, and I would love an opportunity to have Coach Rule on. I mean, if you're going to be doing, any of the, barstool stuff, you might as well do the Redcast stuff, right? With Herd Sports Media.
Well, what's the rule that you always say? The answer is always
no if you don't ask. I mean, hey, if you're going to be on with Damon Benning, why aren't you on with Redcast Rob?
Well, and again, where are you going to be watching the game from today, Rob?
The field.
Yeah. So the answer is always no if you don't ask. And we've had people go, "How'd you guys get press passes?"
I asked. Well, it's funny too because
and do like 500 episodes.
And do like 500 episodes. And before the game too, I was walking past Coach Rule and I made eye contact with him without meaning to. I just looked up and he was walking right by there, and I got nervous. And I just said, "Today's the day. Want to know?" And I just kept walking. I was like, "That was the stupidest shit I ever said."
No,
I said way
don't beat yourself up, Rob. You said way dumber stuff than that. Don't worry about it.
You should have just thought he was honky, is what you should have done. Just pretend Coach Rule is honky. I mean, I've seen side by side pictures, and the resemblance is uncanny. So you should have just thought it was your best friend, really.
Yeah, we. Do we have those right here? Yeah.
You can
Is
definitely
it a Chihuahua or a blueberry muffin?
Yeah. So I've been told. I don't know. Let's look a little bit here at some keys to the game. I think with Northern Iowa, they're going to want to slow the game down. And you brought it up earlier, Talon. Just by nature, this is a different style team that we're going to play than the first two. The first two were spread them out. They're going to want to. They don't really care about time of possession. UTEP or Colorado. They want to score quick. They want to get in these hyper tempo moments and all that. For a number of reasons. That is not something Northern Iowa is going to want to do. They want to play more old school Big Ten, Nebraska type football. They want to control the clock because they want to keep our offense off the field. We should be able to move the ball against the defense, an FCS defense. We should be able to score points. So the best thing they can do is, can we go out there? Can we create 5 and 6 and 8-minute drives and keep Nebraska off the field? So I would think for UNI, that's going to be one of the keys is to slow down the game, and Nebraska's got to be able to get them off the field.
Well, it's going to be hard to have good time of possession if you're Northern Iowa if you're going 3 and out on every.
Well, I mean, and so Talon, what does Nebraska have to do, obviously, to make them go 3 and out? I mean,
stop the run. I mean,
stop the run.
I mean,
right away, right? First down.
They have 2 running backs with 30 carries. So they want to run the ball. They're very similar in kind of the style of play. They want to run it up the middle. They want to give it to their backs. But, it's something that, can we take away another team's strength, right? I mean, we did a pretty good job at kind of slowing down the pass last week, but Shedeur still had over 200 yards passing last week. I think Travis Hunter had like 11 catches for over 100 yards. And it's something like we've always been able to stop the run, but can we, this team, that's their strength, and that's really their own
That's
strength.
What they want to do.
I mean, so can we slow them down? Can we keep them under 60 yards, right? I mean, they have 2 backs with 30 carries, like I said. They have 1 back with 315 yards. That's what they want to do. So can we slow them? And like Rob said, if we can slow their running game down, I don't think that they have much of a pass game. I mean, this quarterback that they have is a junior, and the only time he's seen action over the last 2 years is in garbage time. So it's not – I don't know how confident they are in this kid. He hasn't been sacked. He doesn't turn the ball over a ton, but I'm not too worried about their pass game. Can we just slow down their run game? Like you guys have talked on your previous episode, they have a couple guys over 300 pounds. I mean, and even Rule said it, they have two offensive linemen who could get drafted. So it's not like these guys can't, they have small linemen, it's not like they have an FCS, type of offensive lineman. They have FBS linemen. So it'll be interesting to see how we can kind of contrast against them with our, and how many different fronts we can show them and see if we can, really kind of slow it down. It'll be interesting to see, but yeah.
I mean, the stats are kind of weird because, they haven't been sacked yet, but they also don't throw the ball a whole lot. They haven't had to. They're a running team, and they have 2 running backs, like you said. Pisak Hickson is one of them, and the other one is Ty Edwards. He's 6'4", 230 pounds. This is not a small running back at any level. And so, tackling low is important there, right? You want to take on a guy who's 6'4", 230 pounds, and you hit him up high, he's going to run through. And so, these are, again, moments of where it doesn't matter who the opponent is. How do you keep getting better? You want to tackle well in the Big Ten against some big back, you're going to have to tackle these guys well. I go back to some of the Osborne era kind of discussions we've had in the past.
Living in the past, Honke.
Well, I've watched Osborne give talks before at clinics, and he would always talk about how it's about goals. It's not about winning a game. The goal is never to win the game. That's a weird goal. Like what competitive player in any sport ever says they don't want to win? So why is the goal to win a game? The goal is to you set these certain bars. We want to keep a team under X amount of yards per carry. We want to win the turnover battle. We want to do this. We want to do that. And you create your list of goals. And if you achieve all those goals and you get beat, you literally, as the prayer says, you cheer as the winner goes by. If they beat you after you've achieved all that, then Godspeed, I guess. Rule mentioned that in the presser. He talked about defensively. He goes, we want to hold Colorado to 2 plays of 20 yards or more defensively. They got 4. And he's like, so defensively, think about how good we played on defense. Think of how excited we were after that game. And Rule's sitting there going, we gave up 2 more explosive plays than what our goals were.
Yeah.
We didn't achieve that goal. The result was what we expected to get. We expected to beat those guys. Yeah. But we need to hold teams to 2 plays of 20 yards or more or less. And so when I'm looking at a game like today, and it's not an explosive team, they want to run the ball on you. Everything depends on maybe situation. Maybe it's the end of the game and we have a bunch of backups in. But the idea is I'm not expecting these guys to pull off a whole bunch of big 30-yard runs on us in the first quarter. And Talon, if we held them to 2 yards or negative 2 yards on first down, and now it's 2nd and long, and then it's 3rd and long, now they're in a throwing situation. Now they get that first sack on the season that they haven't had. I mean, that's how this game can play out. But it all starts, like you said, Talon, on first down and making that stop.
Well, and Rule isn't just a guy who sees results and is okay with it. He's a very how did that result happen? Did we perfect everything? Did we perfect our technique going in to get that result? And that's something that, has been kind of a theme for him. Just, okay, we won, but how did we win? Did we do everything we needed to do like you guys were talking about? Did we perfect our technique? Did we perfect holding on to the ball? Did we have 5 points of contact going into the end zone? Kind of like Dowdell did on that last one of his rushing touchdowns. You kind of see he kind of goes and carries it over that line. So he's not just a results guy. He wants to know how you got that result so he can perfect it for that next week. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I really like our matchup today. I think we can really put a lot of stress on this offense. And I think we can get that first sack. If we can get them in a 3rd and long, you are just absolutely giving Tony White and this defense an opportunity to just come at you. And that D-line, they can get at you with 4. And that was a point of emphasis for Rule and Tony White coming into this season. Like, hey, we can blitz and we can have different blitz packages and we can have different guys coming, but can we get to the quarterback rushing forward? And can we drop 7 back and just cover? And that's what we did a ton of last week against Colorado. And that's why we succeeded so well. Make Shador hold on to the ball. I mean, that's we're not going to play a quarterback like Shador. Shador's probably going to be the best quarterback we play all season. So the fact we were able to make him hold on to the ball, make him question his first, second read, and make him, kind of get out of the pocket, and we just swarmed him. So if we can continue to do that, I think, this defense has a very good chance of being a top 15, top 10 team, top 10 defense this season.
Oh yeah, Rob, what Talon's saying right there about rushing 4 players. Yeah, that was part of our film review you and I did last night too. Was how creative. How many times you would think right up until to the snap, we'd have 3 guys down, but there'd be 3 guys standing up and they look like they're blitzing. I can't tell you how many times it looked like, okay, we brought 5 there. Okay, we brought 6. But no, we didn't. No, we didn't. They're doing zone blitzes where they're dropping a guy back.
1 step forward, 8 steps back.
They they almost always brought 4. Very rarely did we bring 3 or 5, but we brought 4. But Rob, where they were coming from, every play was different.
I can almost count on one hand how many times we blitzed in that game where it looked like we were blitzing every single play.
But we were blitzing. But because we were dropping other guys back, it's still just 4.
Exactly.
So that was the whole thing. It was totally different people coming every play.
Every single play. And not only that, but it was hard to tell who was coming because of the rotation, right? Yep. Like in that respect. But just the way that they lined up. Sometimes you'd see 3 guys down on one side, 2 guys up above, and those would be the only 3 guys rushing at the end of the day. Or 1 guy up top would be rushing maybe, but it'd be a delayed rush. So
they brought 1 corner we saw on one play, and that
they brought a corner, and that actually turned into a long reception.
Yeah.
So I mean, Again, we are not a blitzing team. I don't care what anybody says. We are just guys that are strong. They're dogs up front. I think that's the word, right? Is that your generation, right?
That is the word. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, Ty and Nash are
out there,
dogs.
and they are
They're
working
dogs.
every single play, pounding every play. They're beating up the offensive line. It's just beautiful.
Well, I'm looking over Talon's shoulder, and I'm seeing the Alabama game up there, Wisconsin game, at 35-10 right now. But I was putting those dogs you're talking about on our line. I was thinking about that as we were watching the first quarter, and Bama was going right up the gut on Wisconsin. And I was like, Wisconsin doesn't look like they have Nash and Ty and guys like that in the middle. Like those two dudes, Todd or Talon, those guys take up a lot of space. They are hard to push out. They are going to be good. That would be progress in this game is we're going to play a team that wants to run right up the gut on you. These two guys should just dominate the run.
Well, and they've dominated all season so far. But yeah, they want you to run at them. They dare you to. I mean, you saw it all last week. They have no problem with you running the ball. It's kind of what that's why they only rush for. They're like, hey, if you can beat us through the air, go and do it. We'll let you. We'll not let you, but we're okay. With how good our corners are to do man and things like that. They want you to run right at them because they trust Ty and Nash so much. And even kind of the other guys, you look at, I think Williams, he's a good run stopper. Jamari Butler, he ain't shy when he gets in there. He'll go lay the lumber on a running back. So it just lets you know, but it's kind of a credit to Tony White's defense, right? With that Rover, with that Jack, that he can bring all those different guys, and you can kind of have, Jamari can drop back into coverage, and you can bring a Micah Bear, to come at you. You can bring a Gifford, and bring him out of coverage and have other guys do things. This team is so versatile in what they can do, and every guy is okay. This is not a team that's, believes in stats or anything like that. They just want to find a way to shut you down as a whole. And it's something that, if we lose Tony White, it's gonna be a struggle. But the fact that we were able to retain him and have these guys in his system for another year has been a phenomenal job on our part to keep him and be willing to pay him that kind of money, because he's going to be a phenomenal head coach. And I think you can agree with that, Honke.
Well, and the whole point of the defense, the concern of the defense a year ago was, how is this 3-3-5, like it's the formation itself?
Yep.
How is that going to hold up in the Big Ten? And it showed very well last year. Yep. The issue isn't the alignment. It's at the end of the day, it's going to be, do you have players to play it? Nash and Ty, they're going to be stout against the run, whether you're in a 4-man front, a 5-man front, a 3-man front. It doesn't matter what that is. The 3-3-5 allows us to bring a lot of rushers and blitzers from different areas and confuse teams. So, and it's done that very successfully. We have another beer swap here. So we got the next round. This is a good chance here. This is a good chance with over 1,100 people live streaming, watching with us right now on our X, Facebook, and YouTube pages. Thank you so much, channels. Thank you so much, Redcasters, and we really appreciate it. Tell your friends about the Redcast. We'd love to keep growing Redcast Nation. As I mentioned on the other show, we went over 35. We're about 35,000 in Redcast Nation right now. Which
we need more Instagram and TikTok followers.
Well, that's what Talon's all for. Is getting the Instagram and TikTok up, get all the kids there. But we're past Kearney now. So we are now the 5th largest city in Nebraska, and Grand Island is next. Although that's a lot of people we have to gain to get up to Grand Island level.
It is, but
we can do it. I know we can do it.
But also, I mean, big shout out to the Bierhaus here at the Rooftop.
Oh my goodness!
By Kincaid, right? We're on our second round of very large beers, and I just ordered us a pretzel.
These
so
things are just
we'll have some food coming here real soon.
I have a big head, and look how big that glass is next to my head. Rob, you wanna let's give another shout out to the Oktoberfest.
Yeah, the Oktoberfest. I believe it's next Friday, September 21st.
No, next Saturday.
Oh, next Saturday, September 21st at 12 p.m. There'll be bands, there'll be games, they'll be playing a bunch of cornhole, a bunch of German beer-related games.
Stinson Park in Omaha. It's down in the absorbent area of Omaha there.
And they're gonna be out there. You gotta buy your tickets there. You can buy them before, they're like $10, but if you buy them at the event, I believe they're around $20.
Yeah. And
you have to buy all of your beers. You have to buy tokens for that. So, and I believe that your ticket comes with some tokens, and then you have to buy more tokens. Honestly, it's going to be a great time. Let's see, beer in Nebraska.
Beer Nebraska.
Omaha.
And again, like we said, it's on next Saturday, but
is.
Nebraska plays on
On
Friday
Friday
night.
night.
So there's no game that's going
right.
to be getting in the way. So go down there. You know, it's Oktoberfest. We're in a German Bierhaus rooftop right now, drinking German beer, which there is an extra level to a German beer. There's just a little more kick to it.
There's a little kick. Like, this is a Pilsner.
Here,
And it
here, I'll take my full one with
there
you
you
there.
go. Cheers.
There you go. Cheers, buddy. Oh,
And
my
cold
goodness.
still. Oh boy, that's good. That's good. That
the sun's coming out. I mean,
the sun's coming out. It's humid. I mean,
it feels like Nebraska. We got some
it
humidity.
really does. It feels like Nebraska.
There's a little bit of sweat going down my back. You know, that's just typical.
Yeah, well, that's like any Friday night
That
with
really
you
is.
and I, Honke.
That really is.
Yeah. Oh wait, that's getting weird.
That really is too. Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That's getting extremely weird. Hands.
Oh, sorry.
Remember, we got rules.
Matt rules.
We got Matt rules.
And Matt's rules.
So
That's a good one. That's a good one.
we went over some of the keys of the game that UNI is going to want to slow the game down, limit Husker possessions. Time of possession has been a strength for both teams so far, so that's going to be interesting. How about the turnover battle? Nebraska, that was something that chasing three they hit on quite a bit. Was that a big difference between the first two games a year ago and these two games? Last year, we were -7 in the turnover battle after 2 games. Guess what? We were 0-2. Really didn't matter who the opponent was. You can't turn the ball over. Right now, we're +3, and that needs to be, again, the opponent's us, Rob. We can't be turning the ball over.
So can I talk about something we talked about last night and go anti-Kool-Aid here?
Okay, go anti-Kool-Aid.
Okay. Raiola is the only quarterback, I believe, in the top 25 or something like that with over 50 pass attempts through week 2 with no interceptions. There was some stat in that regard, right? He hasn't thrown an interception. Let's just leave it at that. Forget all the other BS.
Yeah, forget whatever else you made up.
But no, it really wasn't something I saw.
But you're right. He hasn't thrown an interception.
He hasn't thrown an interception. He probably should have thrown 3 last
He
week.
probably should have.
And my point is I want to see that improve. That's a big thing because it's gonna happen eventually, right? Like it's bound to happen. He's a quarterback. I mean, I know he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. He's still young. This is a much faster game, right? He's only 18 or 19 years old, something along those lines. He's got all the confidence in the world, so he's making those throws because he thinks he can. Some of those throws, just Dylan, please stop, all right? Because this is the sort of team right here where it's going to kill the momentum. If you throw some of those up like that and we're not winning that receiver battle or the ball is just not somehow coming out of the defender's hands, flying in the air and flying into Ramir Johnson's hands for a touchdown at the end of the second quarter, like those sort of things you need to be aware aren't always the right decision to make, right? You can't run to the right and throw to the left all the way across the field on a bomb into 2 defenders and hope that the guy catches it on the 4-yard line so that you can rush it in like 2 plays later. Like, you can't do that. Like, those are not the sort of, and I'm going to call them mistakes, that you can make as a young quarterback because those are the kind of mistakes that will catch up to you.
Well, and it's you kind of almost I don't want to say this, but you almost kind of wish he would have gotten picked off once just for kind of a learning opportunity, right? Just kind of be like, oh, maybe I can't do that.
Well,
Maybe I can't do
and
that
I'm
at this
sure
level.
you go back and you watch the tape because this is the last night was probably the 4th or 5th time I've watched that game, and every single time you think they're only watching it 4 or 5 times. You're crazy, right? Like, and those are all of those clips. I guarantee you, they're in there. They're in his face. Don't throw that. Don't throw that. Don't throw that. Don't throw that. Because there are a lot of those throws. We've just gotten lucky so far. But it's good because that luck used to go against us, and now it's going with us, right?
So, guys, I want to bring this one up here. TriStar, Tennessee fan saying GBR, can we please bring back the Big 8? I like that, number one. Also, this is one of I don't know what these are called, like moneygrams or something.
Yeah, they are. He sent us $5, and also,
I mean, you don't have to, but we appreciate the heck
you
out
know
of
what?
that. We really do.
I'm actually a pseudo Tennessee fan right now. I do a trivia night every Sunday night where I live in Greeley, Colorado, and there's a team that comes in. They're big Tennessee fans. They come in in orange every week, and their team's name is Balls Deep.
That's all. I mean, this is so cool. Like, we've got people from Boise and Boulder and Michigan and Tennessee fans from Tennessee watching. Appreciate this so much. And TriStar, I guess, just as an anecdote to you here as a Vols fan, We have great friends here with Tyler Kai, who works in the athletic department. He's the associate athletic director, and he used to work at Tennessee. And a personal love of mine on trips, like my wife, God bless her, we'll drive hours out of the way on a trip to go see a football stadium. And it was 4th of July weekend a couple of years ago. We were going out to Tennessee and West Virginia and so on. And Tyler, who used to work there, I told him about it, and he got me hooked up to take a Saturday morning. It was like July 2nd, Saturday morning. I got a personalized tour of Neyland Stadium. Yeah. And I'm telling you, what an awesome experience. My son and my wife were there. My wife didn't really care a lot. Alex didn't care a lot either, but I'll tell you what, we got into the Peyton Manning locker room, and then Michael was the guy's name that was walking us around. He picked Alex up, and Alex touched the thing that says, like, I played for Tennessee right before you. And I took a photo of it. It was an awesome moment, although I also, I'm biting my lip going, no, this is Husker football. But it was so interesting. And Neyland's such a cool stadium, and they're going through so many of the same things that we're trying to do with Memorial Stadium, that the idea of modernizing a stadium and what do you have to do, and you're tearing out certain sections but creating new areas, new viewpoints and stuff. That's something that it's controversial when you have stadiums that are 100 years old. People don't want to see some of those things go away, but you're also creating a place that's going to be the next generation. And I guess I'm going to translate that back to what we saw last week with Colorado as well. Was there's this moment of like the next generation of fans are coming to games now. The next generation, you're seeing how we became cool all of a sudden. The third and the fourth quarter, people, how awesome that was. That the student section that played such a big role. This is the next generation of Husker fans coming out, and this is the thing that keeps us going. So, I see it. I have a note here. The band starts at 2:30, which, hey, that's awesome. Yeah. So the Husker band is up here.
No, there's a
different band. It's not the Husker band.
No, it's not the Husker band.
Okay, well, I thought
band. I mean, like the band starts over here at 2:30.
Oh, okay, well, I thought you were saying the Husker band.
I thought we were going to go.
That would be amazing.
It would be amazing if the Husker band was here at 2:30, but that is not happening. But there is a band starting up here at the Rooftop at the Bierhaus, starting at 2:30. So pregame, you can come out here pregame. We'll be here for about another half an hour because I'm not going up against the band.
We don't want to go up against that band then. Okay, so Ryan Mettinger, Skoda's guy, he goes attending first game of the season today. Thumbs up or thumbs down on the cashless stadium. We were at the
dude, who brings their wallet anywhere?
Well,
seriously, man. It is 2024, Ryan.
A lot of people do.
Okay, Boomer.
A lot of people. I don't. You're the 50-year-old here, for Christ's sakes. Don't look. There's a lot of people that still do. That's the whole point of it. But we went around Devaney Center last night, and it's cashless there. The interesting thing with football, the thing that differentiates it from basketball and the other arenas, is that you have the kids walking up and down the stands, and you're sitting in South Stadium 70 rows up. You're not getting out to go walk to concession stands as easy. So how do they do that? My presumption, I guess I haven't sat up there. If someone watching has been at one of the first two games up in like the top parts of the South and North Stadium, I assume they probably like hand down like the toast, that little machine thing, and that's how you pay it.
Yeah, that's what I assume too.
I have to, because you're not handing cash around anymore.
One guy yesterday, he had like one. It was like a phone with like a thing on the back that he was able to do it. So, yeah.
TriStar Chancellor Downdy Plowman came from Nebraska. She was the dean of the College of Business at Nebraska. She helped build Hawks Hall here. So
yeah, I guess we should mention again that the athletic director at UNI is also a Nebraska graduate.
Yes,
and Troy Dannon is a graduate of UNI.
Yeah, so our athletic directors are today are going to be conflicted with their alma maters.
Do we know? Is there a bet going on? And does anyone know? Is there rumors out there about some kind of a bet, or is she just smart?
What's that?
I said, is there a bet like between ADs going on?
Oh, there could be. Yeah,
I said, or is she just smart?
Well,
I assume she knows.
I don't think Dylan making those throws are a huge deal. Every QB is going to force some throws. That's true. Although Logan, I would say is
I don't disagree with you. All right, because that's
the idea. I think the idea is improvement, though. Right? This is the week.
The idea is improvement. Yeah, So of course I can go back after him not throwing a single interception in the first two games. Go back and say, that's our pretzel. Go back and say, like, I don't like those throws. That's really easy to say.
Huge.
I just want to see improvement. If he cut those in half, I would be happy. Okay, but like some of those throws
let's cut this in half.
We're gonna cut that.
Let's cut this pretzel in half. My goodness, you guys can have some of it. Do you want to cut some of it?
All of this. Yeah, so let's make sure.
Yeah, maybe there's some plates or
I'm not.
something.
I'm
Holy,
hungry. I'm not that hungry.
I mean, I can eat a lot of food, but that's a ridiculous amount there.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Bierhaus. You guys have been awesome for a second time now. Rob, thanks for getting this thing set up. This has been super cool being up here. And Redcasters, I'll say this. I've heard the football program talk about this before, where they're like, hey, thank you to the fans. If we don't have fans, there really isn't anything to the football doesn't matter if there's nobody in the stands to watch it. As good as we think our podcast can be, it really doesn't matter if we don't have people watching. And we have 1,350 people right now following along live while Alabama's playing Wisconsin, while there's live football on.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, I that doesn't go without some thanks here.
Well,
we really appreciate you guys that
as
are
I
following.
like to say too, like I said, I've mentioned a million times, I host a trivia night every Sunday night for the last 10 years. And one of the things that I say at the end of every single trivia night is, without you, there is no me. And that's the same with the Redcast, right, fans? Without you guys, there is no us. We are not as what we're doing. We're not here at the top of the Bierhaus. We are not getting press passes for the games. We're not having as many followers as we have. Hey, there's a UNI fan spotting. That's fantastic. Good luck today.
Whoa, Arkansas State just scored. So Talon, you can you can help us maybe with some what's the current scoreboard going on? We know that Alabama's up 42-10. I can see that on the TV. But Arkansas State and Michigan, and then also Florida State. The last I saw, Florida State. So let me see if I can bring this up. Rob, talk for a second.
Oh, well, so we're looking up the scores right now. I'm actually thinking about going over. I saw a UNI fan. It's the first one today. I was going to invite her over to come and see if maybe she had some predictions on the game, but she
didn't sound too confident about what was going to happen tonight. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. I said good luck. She just looked at me and gave me a thumbs up. So
my goodness, 4:44 left, and Memphis with the ball. Memphis is up 20-12 on Florida State, and even has the ball on the FSU side of the field. It's hard to see here with the light. The sun is really bright. What's up, man?
How I was telling you, South Carolina was up 17-0.
Yes.
LSU is now up 29-24 in the fourth quarter.
Wow. So LSU came back from 17 down. Very cool.
Illinois is up 30-9 on Central Michigan. You got
Mizzou is up 24-14 on BC. Thanks, Greg. That's a good one there.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to the importance of playing these cross Power 4 conference games. Nebraska did the Big Ten, a solid last week by beating Colorado, by beating a Big 12 school. I don't know how good Colorado is going to be as the season goes on. No idea, but it was important to get that win. I know Husker fans were cheering when Iowa lost to Iowa State, and I get it. You're not going to get me defending the Hawkeyes ever, okay? But it certainly doesn't help a narrative of the Big Ten when we're losing that kind of crossover game, right? Wisconsin against Alabama. I don't know that anyone thought Wisconsin was going to win. We tweeted it out today just literally for the S's and giggles of it, and it completely worked. It took 2 seconds where we had people going, "You're absolutely crazy if you think Wisconsin's going to beat Bama." Sure, right? But it was more two things about the Alabama game. Number one, I was just ecstatic that Bama left the damn South. They went north of the Mason-Dixon line to play a football game. So I always want to encourage that to continue to happen. I also want to encourage these kinds of games being played at home stadiums, being played at Camp Randall instead of at Lambeau Field like LSU and Wisconsin did a couple years ago when they had a home and away and didn't play them at their home stadiums.
Yep.
So I always want to encourage that. But did I think that Wisconsin was going to beat Alabama? Of course not, right? I was hoping they could keep it close. And if they could keep it close, that could even help with some of the narrative. Because right now, 6 of the top 7 teams in the top 10 are from the SEC. And I don't necessarily believe that, Talon. I don't believe that, but because that's based off of preseason polls, and we've seen it with Florida State was a preseason top 10 team, and we've seen what they've done. But these preseason polls are creating narratives that continue on throughout the season. And now the SEC, when they start playing each other, you're never going to see anyone drop. They're going to have one team beat the other, and then beats the other, and they're just going to stay up there.
Yeah, it's tough when you see 6 out of the top 7 are SEC teams. But I don't have a ton of complaints about it just because it's like you got Georgia, Alabama, Texas. I mean, those 3. Tennessee,
and they're good. They're very good teams.
Yeah, they're good teams, and you got those. There's probably 4 of those 7, probably 5 of the 7 that probably absolutely deserve to be there. I would probably say like Georgia, Bama deserves to be there. You got who else is up there? Texas, I would say, is a top 5 team.
Sure.
So there's teams that I think deserve to be there. I'm with you guys with the AP polls. Especially the preseason polls. It's just they're not very good, especially when you kind of look at some of like Florida State is not a top 10 team. Michigan was not a top 10 team to come into this year. So it's tough to say, but you kind of look at like, I think it'll all kind of square itself out, especially with the playoff. Like teams are going to lose. Like teams are going to, like you always see this, like Ole Miss has been ranked in the top 10 like the last 2 or 3 years, and then they go and play a top Alabama team and they get crushed, or they go play a Georgia team and they get crushed. And you kind of get things sorted out in that way. So it does help itself that you can play it. But the AP pool doesn't matter because you get into November and you get the college football playoff selection, right? And they start ranking teams. So it really doesn't matter. And especially with the 12-team playoff, it really doesn't matter about your like strength of schedule anymore. It's really, can you win your conference and can you be ranked in the top 12 after that, right? So
it makes me miss the BCS.
Well, it makes, the challenge becomes when, you have a conference that thinks then that they can get 6 teams or whatever because they're that much better. What I'm getting at is that I think the importance of these non-conference games is they're your one opportunity to play interconference games.
Yes.
I mean, and so that's why I don't want to see those going away in the future. Like Tennessee and Nebraska have a home and away. I hope we get to play them, and I hope that the college football playoff.
I want to go to Tennessee.
I hope the college football playoff rewards teams for playing those games. Doesn't punish you for losing an early game because you chose to play that, or else you're going to have teams going out and just playing totally lousy non-conference schedules. Nobody benefits from that. Also, television doesn't benefit from that. I mean, these billion-dollar TV deals, you want to see good games. You want to see Colorado and Nebraska. Even if Colorado's not a good team, you want to see those matchups, and you get 6.3 million people on Peacock and NBC watching it.
You do. Second most watched game of the
week.
Weekend.
And so that's what you want to have happen there. I just think that the polls in general are just silly right now because it's too early. I would just take the approach of what the college football playoff does, which is let's wait until October, later in October before you even start doing it because of the Florida States of the world and examples like that. That
Notre Dame's of the world.
Hey, well, and Notre Dame, man, Notre Dame's a weird one, right? They go out and they win at A&M. They won the big game. They went to an SEC team and won on the road. Yep. And then they turned around. They lost at home to Max.
Can I also just give a shout out here too, real quick, to my employer, Allo. I'm sitting here looking up at the TV, going, "Wow, this looks really familiar." And they've got Allo TV here at the Bierhaus, which is great. I know they're not an official sponsor of the Redcast, but they are an official sponsor of me. But they are an official sponsor of me. So I will be seeing some of my coworkers over at the Allo tailgate over there in the Horseshoe before the game on the east side of the stadium. So it's again, I'm sorry, getting back to the rankings, I'm just looking up the TV. They're flipping through stuff right here. I felt reminded to make sure to give a shout out because we are connected to the internet for them as well. And it's a great crowd up here. They've got a band starting in about 20 minutes on top of the Bierhaus. We are doing our podcast. I tried to, when you see me getting up and leaving, if any of you are watching this live, I've actually gotten up, tried to get a couple of UNI fans on here. One guy told me, "You don't want me as a guest. I just went to school there." So there you go. But I did welcome them, and I wish them the best of luck today because that's the Nebraska way.
It's what we do.
What we do. Yeah. So,
we can be Nebraska nice on this Saturday.
I think we can be. Yeah, we can be Nebraska nice on a Saturday. All right. This isn't a rivalry game, and quite frankly, Nebraska nice would be 49-7, not 49-3.
Well, and I think we were pretty Nebraska nice to Colorado last week, especially after some of what we went through as Nebraska fans last year going into Boulder.
You and I bonded over that. I just want you to know, like I know your Dave's nephew, but you became my nephew that day.
Oh yeah.
Like you,
I was like, wow,
Uncle
you're gonna
Uncle
start-
Rob had your back, brother. All right, like
Well,
They
Grandpa
started
Dave
off
pinched
so-
both of your guys'
yeah,
necks.
Grandpa-
Grandpa
Dave
Dave,
was
he
pissed.
basically
Dave
stuck
was
his
not
finger in
happy.
our nose and dragged us away from that.
Oh yeah.
He let you guys know how Nebraskans
5 national championships, 16 conference champ. I mean,
he
yeah,
let
He
you
let
guys
us
have it.
know.
he was.
And I said, "Hey, Dave." He said something about my mom. What was I supposed to do?
well, I did get hit in the back of the head by a beer ball, by a beer
Yeah,
can.
it was a rough outing,
Yeah.
but it just lets you know like how respectful
I had every
Nebraska
right
fans-
to be upset after that game, and you know what? Scoreboard.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, what
Now-
comes around goes around, and you always have right to be upset, but at the end of the day, you got to be smart too, because when you're on the road,
That's me. I'm
Yeah.
I'm not.
when you're on the road, and there's 60,000 other people. The odds aren't there. So
Yeah. What's next? Do we have anything? What's next?
I'll be
on the
honest, I would
list?
have taken
You
on
know,
about 30,000
well,
Colorado
some of
fans. I don't care.
You've got a scouting report there, Honky.
well, yeah, I mean, we were talking about. I mean, we take Northern. The point is to take Northern Iowa seriously.
We take every
everyone
single
seriously.
team. I wasn't making fun of you. I'm
Sure.
just saying you have a scouting report, which is, I mean, normally I'm the one looking up like other teams and doing all that. And you did that this week, which is super impressive.
Yeah.
Shout out to the lady dragging 2 chairs across us. I'm going to go carry one for her so she doesn't do that. I'll be right back.
Go for it. I'm going to ask you a question, everyone here that's following along and Talon. Let's talk about halftime score. I think that's important because we know we're going to have our starters in there for the first half. I mean, where do you see us being, 30 minutes, and what's the halftime score going to be of this one?
I think it's going to be a little bit more low scoring. I think it's going to be like 21-3, just because I think both teams are going to want to run the ball, drain the clock, own time possession. So I think it's a little low scoring, 21-3 to go into half. But I don't think there's a ton of momentum for UNI going into that second half. I think it's like we've just pulverized them. I think we're going to own time of possession. I think they get something going on one drive where they can finally put a field goal together. But I think, I would say like 24-3. I don't think it's going to be a crazy high scoring game. Like, I don't think we're going to get to the 50s for scoring points, just because I think both teams are going to really wear down that clock is kind of where I'm going with it.
Yeah, I'll base it off of the last 2 halftimes. We've been up. What was it? Was it 30? Or what,
That
what were we
first-
up against UTEP? Was it 20? Dang, why am I 30-7 or something? I think it was.
Yeah. With
Yeah,
the
'cause
safety,
the
30-7.
It was 30-7, and then we were up 28-0.
Yep.
Last week, and I guess I'm gonna just go off of that. I'll actually kind of combine the two, and I'll say that we're gonna be up like 35-0 at halftime. I think
I like that.
I think we come out there and dominate the game. The only caveat to that, and this would be considered a step back, would be any kind of turnover. If they're going to score on us in the first half, it's going to be because we make a mistake, a turnover, or blocked punt or something. And hey, maybe that's the way to finish this up, because we've got a few more minutes here until the band starts. Talon and Rob, what about special teams? I think that's an area for this game. We have got to play a clean game of special teams all across the board. It wasn't terrible last week. I know Coach Rule, even in our intro, Coach Rule said, it was the worst game he'd ever seen special teams wise, but there were some positives. We blocked a field goal, and we had a punt that went down to the 3-yard line. We had some positives, but we also had plenty of negatives. I do want to give one shout out, IGC. He has given us so many yards on punt returns, these little hidden ones. But I guess I'll start with you, Rob, and then we'll go to you, Talon. What do you want to see special team wise here in the game today?
So I saw a stat today that I found absolutely interesting. Kansas State has 62 punt returns for a touchdown
Or
kickoff returns since 2001.
Wow.
I would like to see one this weekend.
I'd have to agree. Let's just get a kick return touchdown, and I think we got the guys to do it. And I'm not even totally mad about our defensive special teams. We're able to put guys inside the 20. We're blocking field goals. We're putting pressure on punts. But we got to be able to make field goals. I don't know what's going on with Albano. There was so much hype coming in. He's really struggled to start this season, and it was something that I didn't expect. And we got to be able to hit close field goals. I mean, we cannot miss chip shot like that, especially Colorado, it's whatever because it was such a dominant performance. But we get into like Big Ten play, and you go and play in Ohio State. You miss a field goal like that, that could cost you a game. So can we fix the field? Can we make a field goal? Would be nice. Can we get a return touchdown like Rob's saying? I'd like to see that. I haven't seen one of that since Pearson L was in school. So yeah, it'd be nice to see a return touchdown for once. How about you, Honke? What do you
Honke. I'm the host. I don't have to answer.
Yeah, he's the host.
Let's do it.
I've done plenty of time, but what do I want to see on special teams?
Sorry, I'm 2 beers in. Well, actually, technically, probably 4 beers in at this point. These beers are huge.
I mean, what do I want to see out of special teams? I'd like to see Barney take something off in a kickoff return. I think that would be a nice step for him. But again, I don't want it to get lost. What IGC is doing in punt returns, he is now he went down low to catch one of them last week at the 30. I don't like that. That's a risk that could, but what he has done.
Elsa, that right?
Yeah,
Elsa. You know that right? Let it go.
But also he's done a good job. Like the very first punt that Colorado had against us last week, it was rolling. He picked it up at the 38 and he ran back to the 50. I mean, that's huge. He doesn't pick that up, and we've had too many examples over the past 7 years where we didn't pick it up. That thing rolls to the 20, rolls to the 15, and now you're playing field position. I mean, look, I still do this. I'll do this forever. I look at the starting field position of each drive for the first 4, 5, 6 drives of the game for each team, so you can do a comparison. So even if the game's 0-0 at the end of the first quarter, but we're starting the game each possession at the 40 and they're starting it at the 10 or vice versa, that's an early indicator of how the game is being played. Yeah. And so special teams, you can get the field position piece of it. Then the second side of that is the just straight up points. That's right. All right. You block a field goal, awesome. They're not scoring on you. But when you're missing 31-yard field goals, I mean, you just can't have that. And I know that Rule even mentioned that it's open competition right now for the snapper part. So that the snaps haven't been perfect. I don't care. I honestly, at this point, I don't care what they have to do. We've got to be able to make 30
give a shout out to Kenzie right now. Like, so Talon's girlfriend is over here. She's here with us. She came on screen briefly earlier. We ordered this. She's cutting chunks of a gigantic pretzel, putting it on plates for us and bringing it to us as we're doing it without asking, which is fantastic.
I mean, if you start seeing someone putting a napkin like in our shirts, I mean, that's
it might get weird.
Yeah, right, it'll be weird, but it will be neat.
I mean, I've got some strange fetishes. That right there, like I don't know, that's pushing the.
I'm shocked I haven't already dropped some of this like cheese on my shirt.
Oh my god! And
I will say the only error she's had today is she spilled a whole beer. That's the only error she's had. The only turnover.
I didn't see that.
It was on the ground, and
we're 2 for 2 then.
Yep.
We spilled a beer at the last show all over the table. I was cleaning it up for probably good 20 plus minutes, like trying to clean up. Good job, Kenzie. We are like beer spilling brother and sister.
We're gonna have to make it a tradition every couple of weeks. We'll have to come to the beer house, do a live show, and spill a beer. That's what we'll have to do from now on. So.
It's again, Redcasters, 1,550 people right now watching live here. So appreciative of this. We've had all these other games going on. Talon, we have Michigan, I think, pulled off the victory.
They did, yep.
They pulled off the victory. Florida State, do you have enough temperature? Or
let me check.
I was reading my phone there. Do you have an update on Florida State there?
They are still down 20-12 to Memphis. There's a minute 37 in the fourth. Looks like Memphis is about to punt the ball away to Florida State.
So Florida State is on the verge of going 0-3. And again, we talked about preseason polls and all that. The preseason number 10 team in the country. My goodness. And I think about the tight end Lofton, I think his name is, from Omaha. That's a Florida State commit right now.
Yep.
And I think how, what's going on over there, how that can change maybe, me and my homegrown Huskers. I'd love to see, maybe a flip coming back here.
Those are off.
Can we talk about the Huskers getting that 4-star linebacker from Westside?
Christian Jones, one of the immediate outcomes of that Colorado game that you're talking about, Talon, and that awesome environment. We had a ton of recruits there, and
And he said that the whole reason he committed to Nebraska was he wanted to commit right after the light show. He saw it, he saw the atmosphere, and he said, my heart was just tugging that I needed to stay home. So it lets you know where Nebraska's at, that we can bring recruits in, we can do that light show, we can dominate a team, and it's gonna make these, we got some talent here in Nebraska. I just called a football game last night where there's a bunch of 3-star talent here. We got there's an offensive tackle that just committed to Texas Tech for Papillion La Vista. So there's some guys here, and Rule has really made it an effort to let's recruit in state. He's done a bunch of camps here from the time he got hired. So it's been really interesting to see. But to be able to get a 4-star and the best player in Nebraska, I think the last now 2 years to come to come to us, especially after getting I'm gonna blank on his name right now. Carter Nelson. He was the best recruit in Nebraska last year, and to get him to come to us, I mean, it just shows that Rule is committed to recruiting in Nebraska. So it's awesome to see, and we got some dogs here like Rob.
Carter Nelson today.
What?
I said I hope we see some more Carter Nelson today.
He looked good in that UTEP game.
He
you
did.
can get him out in the space.
That pass around the outside and everything, and it was like Carter Nelson siding. Like that's what I want to see today. Third and fourth quarter.
Yep.
Second, third string. Let's go.
Yeah.
Get up. You'd mentioned the atmosphere. I want to show one more time the atmosphere up here on the Bierhaus, 8th and P Street in the Haymarket.
Look at that beautiful Midwestern sky in the background.
I mean, it's beautiful right now.
60% humidity. We've got Kenzie dishing up pretzels to us.
We've got pretzels.
We've got beer.
Talon, you mentioned, did you do a game last night then? So what did you do? What are you doing right now? Is that something you're eating? Sorry.
Hey, Talon. It's Honke is essentially now the waiter or the waitress coming over and asking, so how's your food as you're right in the middle of the night?
Yeah. And these glasses I'm wearing right now, everything is dark, even the screen. I'm having trouble even seeing the screen. But I can see 1,600 people following. Ba ba ba. Good times never seem so good. So good.
So good. So good.
So I'm trying to go into play-by-play announcing. I did some color commentating last night for the Papillion La Vista Monarchs and the Lincoln Southwest Silverhawks game, which didn't end too well for the Silverhawks. It was a 36-9. Papillion La Vista kind of butt whooping really in this, in the entire game. And I'll say this right now: Lincoln Southwest looks like we did on offense last year. They got nothing going. I mean, it was rough. I think in the first half they had a total of 4 first downs.
Oh, geez.
And like 3 of them came on the last drive of the second half. They have 1 touchdown through 3 games, and the only touchdown is a kick. It was a punt return. They have no touchdowns on offense. So it's been a tough start for Lincoln Southwest. But yeah, so doing a little color commentating, doing a little play-by-play. Got a game next week. Doing a little play-by-play. Got to look and see who I'm calling. But yeah, it's a good time so far. I'm enjoying it. So hopefully I can be the next maybe Reese Davis, huh? So.
Good grief. We've got Talon doing, high school games. We got Rob today going to be on the sideline with press passes at the UNI
We're
game.
like a real media company at this point.
Well, and then you got me. What's my role, I guess, in all this?
No,
You're the host.
are the backbone.
You and Dave are the best hosts I've ever seen on a podcast. I'll say that right now.
Ouch.
It's too bad we can't. It's too bad Dave, couldn't have joined us. What's going on here? I haven't seen him come on to the show lately.
He joined us this week, but his microphone was all.
Oh,
screwed up. It was like he was cutting out. He couldn't talk much on it. So hopefully he gets that figured out next week. But anyways, I think I'm seeing the band starting to come up, and I think that's probably our cue that we should probably take off here. I know Vegas Jared's going to be coming up here, so when he gets here, we'll see him afterwards. Redcasters, this has been awesome. I've really appreciated. Everyone that's been showing up and being a part of the show here. Let's get to our parting shots. And I'm going to start with you, Rob. What are your thoughts here today, man?
My parting shot is right now. I'm going to tell you, there are some UNI fans up here. I'm going to go buy them a beer. I'm going to welcome them to Lincoln.
Yeah.
And I'm going to wish them the absolutely best college football experience that they will ever have in their entire life. Yeah.
Very good. Talon, what's yours?
Let's be Nebraska nice, huh? Like Rob's saying, he's gonna go buy him a beer, but let's just take it one game at a time. I think we can be a top 10. I think right now with the roster we have and how we've looked, we are a top 15 team in the country. I think we can play with anyone. I think we got the O-line, we got the D-line, we got the guys. Let's just take it one game at a time, and hopefully we can keep rolling and stacking up these wins.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what this season's about. It's going 1-0 every week, and I can't wait to see the next Chasing 3 for this game. By the way, also, speaking of Chasing 3 there, really appreciate the quality of what Husker Vision and that group is putting together. Like, we're not just getting weekly content, but the quality of that
like
content.
Emmy-winning content.
It is outstanding. And I'll just tell you, I'm not calling out other schools, but I've seen a number of other schools' hype videos that have come out over the course of this short season so far. And I'll just say, from a quality standpoint, nowhere near what we're getting here. So that goes back to you there, Talon.
Trucks driving on their fields in the middle of the week.
But Talon, when you get a chance to watch, even before the game today, watch that Chasing 3 from last week, and then make a point to watch it every week. The only thing for us is our challenge is we end up sometimes going live on like Wednesday nights or Thursday night. You never know when they're gonna post a Chasing 3, and they usually give you like an hour advance notice. They'll tweet something out saying, "Hey, it's going to go live at 7," and we're like, "Oh crud, we already had a show plan." But regardless, I don't care.
They stuck with us through all of that.
We had a great crew watching us last week, even as we had the live show going. But really appreciate it here. Husker Nation, Redcasters. Yeah, here we got some UNI folks right there.
Here, one of you. Sit down, man.
What? No. Yeah, someone sit down here if you want.
He's the football guy. Come on.
Hey, we're getting a UNI fan on in here. All right, so.
How's it going tonight? It's going this afternoon.
How you doing, man? We're the Go Big Redcast. So sit up here so they won't hear you back there. So all right, man. What's your name?
I'm Jalen Barnes. Former Northern Iowa alumni. Football 2011 to 14.
Nice.
Played on some successful teams. 2012 we played in Wisconsin. We played in Kinnick Stadium 2012.
Ooh, okay.
Against Carson Wentz 2013. So I'm hoping the guys are ready. I know what Coach Farley will be saying to them all throughout the day, all throughout the locker room, but this is a big task, man. Playing in Lincoln is awesome. I live in North Carolina now.
We're at North Carolina.
Raleigh.
Okay.
A lot of Wolfpack football, a lot of Blue Devil, all that, but it's good to be back in the Midwest, man. Growing up as a Midwest kid, it was a dream to always play in Lincoln, come to Lincoln at some point. Eric Crouch, the fake pitch, I see it every day in my head. So it's awesome to be in Lincoln and finally experience this. I never got to, as a spectator, never got to play in Lincoln, so it's nice to be back here now. And then even like we were at Barry's, walking Barry's, and my old college roommate, great receiver for us, scored against Wisconsin in 2012. Chad Owens walks into the bar just randomly. Hadn't talked to him, knew he was coming, but hadn't talked to him yet. And he walks into Barry, so it's nice to see alumni, some faithful here. Oh, we met Coach Rule this morning. We're staying at the Cornhuskers.
Okay.
So we park about 9:30 a.m., 10 a.m. we get here. Sorry, 9:30 a.m., 10 a.m. we get here to the Cornhusker Hotel. As soon as we get out, we're doing ballet. I'm like, holy shit, that's Coach Rule. He goes. I'm like, stop, do not turn right now. It's Coach Rule. He goes, there's cars behind us. Okay, fine, turn. He goes, I think he's following our car. And so we get out. I go, hey, Coach Rule, take it easy on us tonight. And he goes, no, I can't do it. He goes, last time we played you guys beat the shit out of me, or something along those lines. And we started to Google, we're like, where did Coach Rule coach? Where he played Northern Iowa and we beat the shit out of him before. But I did not expect, as soon as I get out the car in Lincoln, the first person we see is Coach Matt Rule. I mean,
I'm the doppelganger. I get called that.
You are. I mean, we get out the car, we're nose to nose with Coach Rule. So it is all.
Well, so I gotta ask, is there a prediction you have for tonight at all?
You have a prediction?
Prediction. I hope we hang tight till halftime. I really do see it being 45-10. Sad but true. But if we can hang it 3-13 to halftime, give the faithful something that we came down here for. Give us some pride to halftime. Yeah, I don't know how long we are going to be able to hang throughout. I don't, but I know the guys will be ready the first half. We'll be hyped up. It means a lot to wear those 3 letters across your chest and to play up in the big games.
That's so cool.
To play Iowa State, to play Iowa, to play Nebraska.
Camp Randall. I mean, that's
sure. I mean, I can't call it, but I'm sure there's been a lot of alumni that have gave speeches throughout the week to the guys that are probably here at the hotel speaking. So, like I told you, we went into Iowa, we went into Wisconsin and played. We played against Carson Wentz when he was number 1 in the country.
Wow.
In Carson Wentz's record, Carson Wentz is 26-1 as a starter. His one loss was to us at Northern Iowa my senior year, 2013.
Wow.
Coach Farley will get you ready for big games. Those guys are prepared.
He's a Hall of Fame coach. For Redcasters that aren't aware, UNI's been to the playoffs, the FCS playoffs 22 times. That's second only to Montana. They've been there 27 times. Yeah. This is a proud program. They have played a lot of great football. You were part of playing some of that great football too. How amazing is that? You kind of gave your keys to the game. What we talked about a little bit earlier was that UNI would want to slow the game down, which I think naturally just the style of play they want to do. They want to keep those possessions that Nebraska would have down to a minimum. And so time possession has been, a key for both of the teams. I can definitely see them trying to do that.
Oh yeah.
What did you play? What was your position?
I played corner. I played cornerback. So playing cornerback, Coach Farley is a big defensive-minded coach. Sits on an offense not as much. He's a big defensive-minded coach. He thinks that he can sit in the room, watch film. He gets his teams ready to go on the defensive side of the ball. So I know that defensive side of the ball will be ready. They'll be physical. They will be ready for the nose-to-nose manhandle football that Rule likes to play too. I'm sure all week Coach Farley likes to resort to that as the nutcracker. And that's what Rule when you're going to play physical football. I think this is the best quarterback Rule has had in years, even with NFL. For that, it's the best quarterback that Rule has had in some years for his offense. So I mean, how we hang in there? Like I said, we walked past Rule. He had a swag to him walking. He goes, "Oh no." He goes, "You guys took a shot at me last time we played." So I'm a little worried. Hear from him.
A little bit of a vengeance game for Rule, huh?
It wouldn't shock me if he doesn't tone it down. And once they get up by 28, I would not be shocked if he doesn't tone down late in the third, early in the fourth. But the guys will be ready in the beginning. I think we'll play physical up front, so people will be shocked. Pennington, our left tackle, his older brother plays for the Saints, was 15th number all pick in the 2015 draft. He's the first round on Mel Kiper's board right now. I really want to look at him. I haven't seen him in person yet to see how he looks. Nose to nose.
Yeah, Rule talked about two linemen being NFL linemen that are on.
He's an NFL. He'll be first round next year. Will be first round next year.
Now let me ask you, what are your predictions for your UNI team going into like the FCS schedule, and like can you guys compete for an FCS national championship this year?
So he's having trouble hearing you, but how are you after you play Nebraska? How are you envisioning you guys going on for the rest of the season towards the FCS playoffs?
Well, I know you guys probably haven't looked at the rest of the schedule. We have to buckle up. We are flying to Hawaii next Saturday.
Oh wow!
The University of Hawaii. I don't know when they're flying out. I don't know the schedules anymore. But they play at the University of Hawaii. So back-to-back big boys, back-to-back Saturdays too, and then you have a 6-hour time difference, 5-hour time difference next Saturday kickoff. So that's an adjustment. And you come back from that. I think there's a bye week. Come back from that, and I want to say the number 1 team in the country, South Dakota State, comes to the Dome.
Wow. To the Dome.
I mean, there's no rest for the wicked right now. We have to. I think after that after Hawaii we go break, bye week, and then we go into South Dakota State. I want to say North Dakota State's in there. Illinois State is in there, who played Iowa tough.
Wow.
I mean, it doesn't slow down.
The UNI Dome, man, the Uni Dome up there, Cedar Falls. What's that like playing up there?
It's magic. It really is magic, man. 18,000 people, especially back when I played. I know we haven't had some of the success the past few seasons, but you go back 8 years ago, 10 years ago. I remember Carson Wentz coming in there number 1 versus number 2 in the country, and the place was electric. You're running out the sandstorm and 18,000 people waving towels, and it's indoor. I mean, it's a great moment. And then we bring in the band, we bring in the drum line, comes into our garage with us before we run out at home game. So
that's cool.
So it's electric, but I know hopefully these guys buckle up because they're gonna see some electricity tonight in
Yeah.
the Memorial Stadium
Well,
in Lincoln tonight. Too.
I'd love to hear your feedback after the game. You've been to Camp Randall, you've been to Iowa, Iowa City, Iowa State, and all that. It's interesting. I always love hearing feedback from people once they get done with Memorial Stadium. What's this like? But,
I can't wait because I played in Ames, I played in Kinnick, played in Camp Randall. I cannot wait to measure up Lincoln. I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. We appreciate you coming on and joining us so much. And obviously, both of us, we want our teams to win today. But once this game is over, nothing but love for the Panthers. We'd love to see you guys go on there. And just like Nebraska, it sounds like you're kind of the same situation we've been in. Yet you're trying to recapture some of that glory from a few years past. And I hope that you're able to do that this season, just like I'm hoping that we're seeing Nebraska get right back in there. So
looking forward to see what Coach Roach can do.
Great to have you, man. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. All right. Well, for Redcast Rob, Talon, we're getting done with an hour and a half here. 1,700 viewers watching live. Thank you so much, Redcaster. It's so awesome that you've been a part of this. And I think the band is going to be starting here pretty soon anyway. So
Thanks for joining, man. That was awesome. Good luck tonight. That'd be awesome.
Go Big Redcast.
Go Big Red.
Where you
A Herd at Sports Network production.